Good morning friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel Medical Classes by Dr. Srinidhi Kumar Acharya. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also please give valuable comments. You can also visit the playlist. In the playlist I have provided almost all the topics in a very systematic order. You can make use of it. My dear friends, today onwards we will start with a very new topic, that is disorders of sexual differentiation, which is also called as DSD. This is one of the very important topic, and this is a topic which everybody should know. Now, disorders of sexual differentiation, when we talk this DSD, this is basically an atypical development of. So what do we actually mean by disorders of sexual differentiation? It contains three important things. Number one is there is atypical development of genetics that is related to sex chromosomes XX and XY. That means XX and XY, they are not properly developed, or their distribution is disturbed. Okay, number one, this is one possibility which leads to DSD. Number two is there is some problems related to gonads, or there are some problems related to testis and ovary that may also lead to disorders of sexual differentiation. Third one is anatomically there is some problem like external genital organs and internal genital organs, they are not properly formed. When all the three are present, or individually it is present, it is labeled as disorders of sexual differentiation only. Now actually talking, this is an emergency. This is an emergency. To be frank, this is called a social emergency, because at the time of the birth, when you are not able to determine the sex of the child or the newborn, definitely it's a emergency, social emergency. We have to tell something to the parents, isn't it? But we are not in a position to tell what exactly the sex of the child, gender of the child. So that's really an emergency. So because the first question which is asked immediately after the birth is sex of the baby. So if you're not able to convey the sex of the baby or tell the sex of the baby, definitely it is a social emergency. Now if the pediatrician is not able to say the sex of the child at the time of the birth, three main conditions which comes to in front of our eyes, that is ambiguous genitalia. If there is ambiguous genitalia, then the pediatrician is not able to tell the name, the sex of the child. Or there may be intersex. There may be intersex. There is symptoms or features of physical characters of both the sex were present. Or there may be pseudo-hermaphroditism. Pseudo-hermaphrodites. Okay, pseudo-hermaphroditism may be the cause. So these are the three important things which may be there when the pediatrician is not able to say the sex of the baby at the time of the birth. Anyone may be there, that we have to discuss later. Now first come to the terminology, disorders of the sexual differentiation. Now the latest terminology is disorders of sexual differentiation, because previously the same is called as a disease. Okay, disease. Now it is not called as disease, because of people with the DSD were also having equal rights socially when we are talking in India. So in India and all over the country, even the people with the disorders of sexual differentiation were also having the equal rights. So you cannot name that particular pathological entity as a disorder or disease. Okay, so disease. So now this terminology is now changed. Disorders of sexual differentiation is now get changed into differences of sexual differentiation. So the heading same DSD, but it is not disorders of sexual differentiation. Instead of that, now it is called as differences of sexual differentiation, or differences of sexual differentiation. It is now not the disorders of the sexual differentiation. This we should know. This is a changed terminology. Now talking some of the basic things about the sex and as well as gender. What is the basic difference between the sex and as well as gender? Sex, we know that the term which is used to describe the physical and the psychological attribute of a particular person, isn't it? Sex. Now genetics and gonads and external genitalia is all the part of the sex. Now genetics, XX or XY, if the XX is there, it is a female, XY is there, it is male. Okay, if the testis is there, it is male. If the ovaries are there, then it is female. Okay, external genitalia, labia majora, labia minora is there, it is a female. Penis and other things are there, then it is called as male. So genetics, gonads and external genitalia So all these parts are basically the part of the sex. Then what is gender? Gender is actually more social. More social, it is called as more social attribution. That means how the society identify them or presented in the society. Now, for example, person may be having the external genital organs of the female, but how actually he present himself in the society, he may not show any deviation from, actually he is a male, but he is having external genitalia of the female, suppose. But in spite of having that external genitalia of the female, how actually he himself produce in the society, so that is actually gender. Okay, although he is having the female sexual organs, so he may present himself as male. Okay, by all these activities and all attribution and all, he may present himself as a male. So then here the gender is male only. So that is how society perceives a particular person by his behavior and activities. So that is called as gender. So he may be male, but behaving like a female. Okay, so although he is male, but if he is behaving like a female, the society receives him as a female. Okay, so genotype is male, but phenotype is female. Sometimes, many times, genotype is of male type, but phenotype is of a female type. But society always takes the phenotype, not the genotype. Okay, genotype is more and more related to the sex, and phenotype is more and more related to the gender, that we can say. Now, gender and sex need not be same. We know that. A person with 46XX, by definition, they are female, isn't it? We know that. Their gender identity or self-representation of the person may be as a male. Now, 46XX definitely, by definition, genotype was, if you see, definitely it is a female. But sometimes the gender identity may be of that of the male. That is how he behave in the society. If he behave like a male, he dressed like a male, okay, his activities are just like a male, the society will receive him as a male, although genotypically he is a female. Now, gender role means, what is the meaning of gender role? Gender role means sex typical behaviors. Okay, gender role means it is sex typical behavior. Means certain attributes are characteristic of male and certain attributes are characteristic of female. Like female are more interested with the interested to play with the doll and kitchen items, etc. While male boys or male are more interested to play the rough and tough games, etc. Climbing the trees and all. So how he behave? So depending on that, the society receives the gender comes out. Now, what actually determines the sex? First, the genetics determines the sex. We know that. First, genetics. If genetics is okay, then it is from the normal gonads, isn't it? First, we have to see whether the genetics X or XX or XY. Okay, genotype is XX, then it is male. Genotype is XY, then it is female. So that suggests that the gonads are normal. Now, if the gonads are normal, then they release the appropriate hormones. Those hormones will work on the appropriate receptors. Then it leads to the formation of the external and internal genitalia. So this is how it starts. First, you start from the genetics, XX and XY. XX is there, XY is there. That means genotype is normal. If the genotype is normal, means the gonads are normal from where it is produced. The gonads are normal. If the gonads are normal, then they release the appropriate hormones. Gonads, testes produce the testosterone and ovary produce the progesterone and all these things. Okay, follicular cell stimulating hormone, etc. So they release the appropriate hormones. These hormones will work on appropriate receptors. Then this leads to the formation of the different external and internal genitalia. Okay, I think up to this is clear. So there's the sequence is, what is the sequence? So genetics, the first, XX and XY. Then comes gonads, like ovary and testes. Then comes the hormone, estrogen and progesterone and Mullerian inhibiting substances in general, which is responsible for external and internal genital organs formation, clitoris, labia, penis, scrotum, uterus, vasa deferens, etc. Now if something goes wrong in this sequence, okay, if something goes wrong in these three sequence, there will be discordance. There will be discordance, and this will be labeled as a DSA, differences in sexual differentiation. Okay, so now these three, always when we have a approach towards the differential sexual differentiation, we should have this particular sequence. We have to go one by one. Suppose if the patient is having abnormal external genital organs, but you have to start from this point only, whether genetics is okay, whether gonads are okay, whether hormones are produced normally. If the hormones are also produced normally, then also this problem is there, then we have to see what is happening. Okay, so this is the sequence. So these are some of the revised nomenclature of the DSD. Intersex is called as differences in sexual differentiation. Previously it is called as intersex. Now this word is not used. Male pseudo hermaphrodites, this word is also not used now. It's 46XY DSD. Now it is called as 46XY DSD. Phenotype looks like female. Female pseudo hermaphrodites, now it is called as 46XS DSD. Okay, and true hermaphrodites, it is called as ovulotesticular DSD. These are the new nomenclatures, revised nomenclature. XX male or XX sex reversal, XS male or XS sex reversal, then it's called as 46XX testicular DSD. XY sex reversal, that is 46XY, it is called as complete gonadal dysgenesis. So we should know these particular terms. Previously these are the words which are used, but nowadays this is the revised nomenclature and these words are not used. So the next class onwards we will see what exactly happens in related to genetics, in related to the testicular and ovary, and in relation to the hormones and all, how this differential sexual development takes place, what are the causes. The details we are going to see in next coming classes. Thank you very much. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and also please give